Today I'm going to show you how we solve equations using graphs. Now, what I'm going to begin with is a very basic equation. Let's write y equals 2x plus 7. Now, if I put a value for y in here, let's suppose we had 21. Say I said, well, let y equal 21. What's the value of x? We could solve that using our knowledge of solving equations. So, of course, I would subtract 7 from both sides, and then I would divide both sides by 2 to let me solve the equation that when y equals 21, x equals 7. Often, you're just asked to solve this kind of equation. Well, let's have a look at what that would look like if we solved it using a graph instead. Looking at this kind of equation here, we've just understood that y is equal to 21, and we were solving for an unknown value of x. Once we were able to solve that, we found that x is equal to 7. So we can say that when x equals 7, y equals 21, and that's a coordinate. So let's have a look. I'm going to open the graphics calculator. Okay, so here's the calculator. When I open the calculator, I'm going to click on the menu button. And on the menu button, I'm going to graph. So I'm going to go down to graph and open that menu. Now, when I place the equation in, it's got to be y equals, this y1 means y equals. So I'm going to type in y equals our equation, which was 2x plus 7. Now, there's a couple of things I'm going to show you today. Let's draw that graph. Okay, so when I draw it, remember we talked about looking at the entire graph. I want to see more of the graph, so I'm actually going to click this F3, which was view window, and I'm going to click STD, which standardizes it from -10 to 10 in both directions. Now, when I draw that, I can get a better picture of my graph. Now, I'm going to show you that when x equals 7, y equals 21 is a value on my line. But of course, 21 goes off the screen. It's outside of my range up to 10. So I'll need to go back into the view window and make sure that in y, I go at least up to 22. So I'm going to make sure I do that. Let's draw that. Okay. Now, there's a couple of things we can do here. This button here, which we haven't talked about yet, says Gsolve. Gsolve means it will solve things graphically. So it's a graphic solve. So when I click on that, I've got a couple of options. This arrow means that there are more options. So I'm actually going to click F6. And you can see there it says, okay, yCalc or xCalc. That means if you have a y calculation, you can find an x calculation. If you have an x calculation, you can find a y value. So it's pretty much about that coordinate we want to show is on the line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find an x calculation. So I want to know when y is 21, what's the value of x? So you literally type in 21 and press exe down here, and it will point at the coordinate there. It's got a little cursor, and you can see it's solved it down here. It says when x equals 7, y is 21. Now that's one way of showing what solving equations looks like on the calculator. Another way that we could look at solving this particular equation is let's press exit. I'm gone back to the graph window. I can actually plot two lines. I can draw the line of y equals 2x plus 7, and then I can draw the line of y equals 21. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at where do these two graphs meet. Now, I do have them on the view window, but I could see it was right in the top right-hand corner. So as you can see, here's the line of y equals 21, and here's my line of y equals 2x plus 7, and I can see that they meet at a point. Now, it looks as though it's the same position as when x equals 7. So let's check that. Pressing F5, let's look for intersect. Along here, ISCT is short for intersect. So I need to press F5, and you can see, I know it's blocked it out a little bit. I don't know why it's done that, but you can see it's flashing at the point when the two lines meet each other. And what you'll see is that's the solution to our equation, which we originally wrote down. Let's go back as 21 equals 2x plus 7. And we worked out that x equals 7. Let's just go back to that graph again. It's where the 2 points intersect, okay? Now, I'm going to stop there. Hopefully you've got an idea about what solving equations looks like graphically.